Hello guys, Tom here from Coding for Youth and welcome to my brief tutorial on Python. This is not part of the series that is actually ongoing. I just want to do a little bit of program that will be able to take a phrase and convert it to an acronym. Also, that's all that this lesson is going to be about. It's going to be a very short lesson and I hope you enjoy it. Now, before we begin, I would like to request that you subscribe to the channel and like the video, leave your comment at the comment section. And of course, we can always interact. There's an ongoing series on Python, and I think we are at lesson number 22 or 24 thereabout. So I just want to take a break and then write a little program using what we have learned in the series so far, string methods and of course lists and all that. So now let's start without any delay. Now, also, I would like to also remind you that this channel is all about encouraging you to code every day. The journey of coding is something that you have to keep on practicing, and as you practice every day, that's how you become a master. Don't give up if at the beginning it seems so difficult. I tell you, in a not very long run, you're already a master. So don't fail to code every day. All right, so let's get started. Now I'm going to use my Mo editor. I introduced the Mo editor during the Python series, so it's actually a very simple editor that we can use, to execute our Python code. So I'm going to open the Mo editor here now, and this is where we're going to be writing our code. So I will write the code below this comment. Remember that in Python we use hash to write a comment, a single line comment. So I'm going to create a new file. Okay, let me just leave that file that is created, but I'd like to save the file. I'll just save it in my Mo editor. So I will call this acronym acronyms.py. Okay, all right, so we're going to start now. We'll write our code below here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we want to request that the user the user enters, the phrase or sentence that they would like to, convert to acronym. All right, so we ask for the phrase, so we can say phrase, and then remember that in Python you don't need to do any special declaration for your variable. So we're going to assign that to a variable called phrase, and then we'll convert it to string because we want everything entered in the command, in the inputs, to be string. So we'll collect our inputs, and then we ask that we say enter a phrase or sentence. Okay, so we'll have something like this from our user, and then we'll close the two brackets. So we're going to assign the phrase or sentence entered by the user to the variable called phrase. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to be using, because it's going to be a string that we'll get, so we'll be using a string method called split. Split, what split does, we have said this in the ongoing series. Split converts a string into a list. So we're going to say, let's say we'll say phrase, a variable now, to list, and then we'll just say phrase dot split. Now, when you're splitting, you can actually split based on empty space or a comma or any of that. So we just give it like this. If we stop here and just print out our phrase to list, if we run this program, let's run it and see. So you see it says enter a phrase or sentence, and maybe we can just say, what can we use now? We can say American National Standards institute. If we enter this, you see that we have a list. A list in Python is more like an array. So we see each of these are each of the words in the sentence or phrase is actually converted, is actually a list, an item of a list. So we have American National Standards Institute. Okay, so that's what the split does. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to create an empty string and assign it to a variable. We can just call this the acronym. So we say acronym is equal to, just create an empty string like that. This is actually an empty string. So the next thing we're going to do, we are going to be adding to that empty string to get our acronym. So we're going to loop through our list, and then we'll check, because some sentences or some acronym, there are little combination of what's it called in English, I think that's called, what's it called now, things like for and or. You wouldn't want that to be part of the acronym, right? So we want to delete, we want to omit such preposition or conjunction, for them not to be part of the acronym. We only want the main words to be part of the acronym. So to do that, we're going to loop through our phrase to list, which is actually a list now. We'll say for to loop through. We'll say for using a for loop. We'll say for, let's say we can say I or X in our phrase to list, which is this. This is how you do it. So here now, we're going to loop through it and assign each of the items in this in the list to a variable called X. Okay, and then what we're going to do now, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to check. We say if the length of X, since we are getting each variable from the list into X, we can actually check the length of each of the items. So we say if the length of X is less than or equal to 3, because most of those preposition or conjunction words are actually 3. So we say if it's less or equal to 3, we want to just pass it, just pass, okay, just leave it like that. We say S, if all the words are actually complete, maybe longer words, we want them to be part of the acronym. So we say, we can now come here and say, we can now say or call our acronym, and then we add to the acronym. I will say plus. Now we want this to be a string. Then we're going to be taking the index, the first letter, the index of each of those words. Okay, we're going to take only the first letter from each of the words that each of the words in the variable. Okay, each of the item on the list, we are going to take just the first letter or the initial. Okay, that's the acronym, right? So we're going to say, if I'm going to assign this and say, okay, we want to add each of these items to be together as a string, as a single string, but omitting the rest of the words, okay, or the item of the list. So we're going to do this by taking the index, and an array starts from index of 0. So we're going to take this. We want to get the first item. We say index of 0. So we say string and then index of 0. And then another thing we want to do, most acronyms are actually in capital letter. So we want to convert this to capital letter or uppercase. So we say upper. That's like that in Python. That's how you convert to upper. Then the next thing we're going to do is we'll print our acronym. Acronym. All right. So this is it. Now let's run this program. Let's run it like this. So it says enter a phrase or sentence. So we can come here and say American. Let's use something that okay, let's use the American National standards like this, standards institute. If we enter, you see we have AMC, so it takes the first letter from the America A, the initial, and then the N from the national, and then the S from the standards, and the I from the institute. Now if we put this to be lowercase, you will still see we have uppercase in our answer, so it doesn't matter. We can say American standard, American national, rather national standard institute. So we still have our capital letter. This is our acronym. Now what if we try something like United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization? That is UNESCO, right? So we see, let's run that and see. So we see United Nations Educational, I think there used to be a comma, scientific, and you see there's an and there. That's actually a conjunction. So we don't want that to be part of the acronym. So let's see how this outputs: cultural organization like this. So if we enter, you see this is perfect. You see we have our U for the United, the initial of the United, N for the initial of the nations, and E for the initial of the educational, and S for the initial of the scientific. But you see now that A, which is supposed to be there, is not there because it has been omitted, it has been passed. And if we print, instead of passing that, if we put a print here, let me just copy this. I'll copy this now, like this, copy, and then we'll come here and say print, the X, and then we'll run this program again and paste it, run. You see that the and that was omitted is actually printed here. So we omitted it, and then we now have our normal standard acronym. Okay, so this is very simple. We can check things like OPEC. Let's check for OPEC. Let's run this. OPEC is organization of petroleum exporting countries. Now you see we have an off there, or if you run this, you see we have our OPEC. So I'll put back my pass here and stop and run again and see. We say organization of petroleum exporting countries. So this OPEC, you can see that we have our acronym OPEC. So this program is very handy. You can actually use it to get acronym from anything. You can see, let's check for things like, let's run this program again. You see things like self-contained, underwater breathing apparatus, and that's scuba, right? So if we run this, we have scuba. Okay, so you can see that this is actually a very beautiful program. So of course you can actually work on this program and make it better, add anything you want to add to it and modernize it. And of course, but just take note of the things we considered here. Basically these are just the rudiments of Python. We have a string concatenation. We also have indexing. We have to upper, and then we have the for loop, and the length and the comparison operator, and of course the inputs and the splits are basically string functions and methods, and lists also. So well, that's all for this lesson. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate. See you guys in another lesson. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Have a nice day.